So, if you read the title, you probably know what's coming, and so let's get right into it. I'm not gonna waste no time. Let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. It's a good day for potting today, man. It's a good day. Ayres, the person I'm playing right now, he's one of the more underappreciated artists in R&B that I feel like doesn't get enough credit for what the fuck he's doing right now. Salute Ayres. He's been putting out fucking bangers after bangers. Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between. Welcome to the Case Study Podcast. I am your host, Isaias Hernandez, and to be honest, I'm just here to give you guys a good time. That's why I'm here, man. I'm not here for no other reason other than that. So let's talk about some shit, man. And today, it's a little bit sad, man, because today is probably the last episode I'll do in a while. Even as I'm doing the podcast, I don't want to stop doing it. I want to continue to release these on a week-to-week basis, but I'll get to why I can't do that a little bit later in the podcast. It's beautiful Jersey weather right now, man. It's fucking bricks outside. It's cold as fuck, even though yesterday it was 70 degrees outside. We're all fucking dead soon, so. Alright, man. Let Mac rock, man. Let Mac rock. Let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. Ooh. Oh. Alright, man. So, let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about the elephant in the room here, which is, if you've seen the title of the video, you know what's coming. So I have decided to take a hiatus on the release of the podcast on a week-to-week basis. There are a lot of different reasons for why I'm doing this. There's not just one reason, and don't get it wrong, I don't want to stop doing this. Like, even as I'm recording this one, I do not want to stop. But my current situation right now does not allow me to have to spread myself so thin. And I'll get into why that is a little bit later, but I want to start off with the why I did this podcast, why I started it. So the original idea of a podcast in general, of me doing a podcast, came from my good friend Jack Trimble. Shout out Jack Trimble. Salute. If you're watching this, you know I love you, my G. You know it's all love between us. And he actually came up with the idea of making a podcast, and I think the podcast name, if I'm not mistaken, I have a fucking awful memory, was gonna be Let's Talk. And we actually recorded a few episodes. So and this was early in 2019, I think, last year. So if you're watching and you're listening and you have that footage and the audio, please send it to me. If you send it to me, if you get it to me, I'll upload it on my channel and I'll see how those particular episodes do. It was 2 of them that we were there. I think there was a guest on one of them. I'll have to talk to him to see. But yeah, that was it's in a completely different location, and it was a lot of fun doing it. And that's where the idea kind of stemmed from. A couple other things in my life happened, and then I realized I had to pursue this. Not really for me, but for the other ventures in my life and where my life is taking me. So, for now, I guess I'll let the cat out of the bag for everyone, for my listening audience. I'm I soon am going to become a social media marketer for a company that shall remain anonymous right now, because I'm going to be the head of the social media, of everything social media there. Social media manager or marketer, I don't know which one, whatever the fuck the term is. But in doing so, I had to become familiar with how Twitter analytics work, even though my and Instagram analytics work, and YouTube analytics work. These three things were very like key points in where I was going, and I had never done YouTube before, and this podcast wasn't even supposed to go on for the time that it did go on for, which is, I think this is episode number 14. I wanted to stop at 10 originally when I first started the episode, the podcast. I wanted to stop at 10, and then when I started getting into it, I wanted to go to 20. I wanted to go up to 20, but then that decreased to 18, and then now I'm at 14, which will be the last one for a little while. But because now I have a sense of how YouTube works, a basic sense, and then I can apply those skills to other areas. So that's if I'm getting very surface, that is one of the reasons why I started the podcast. And if you follow me on Instagram, you know too, I've been doing a couple of things on the Instagram stories, and even post earlier this, no, not this year, late last year, while I was doing things with the post where I was promoting the podcast on my Instagram, and I think I still do it on my Facebook. But that's just to get a sense of how the analytics on these websites work. I've talked about it on this podcast specifically about how social media is now a tool for business. And I personally want to be proficient in these tools to get ahead. Not only am I becoming a social media marketer as we speak, I'm also aiming to get my real estate license like very soon, within the coming weeks. I haven't really talked about this much to anybody, but another thing that goes along with being a real estate agent, the main thing about being a real estate agent is the fact that you have to brand yourself. This podcast has allowed me to somewhat brand myself, not to the extent that I wanted to brand myself, but it has helped, and so has my other social medias. I think it's the very a very like groundwork esque brand for myself, but that is what I was attempting to do. What this podcast was attempted to be at. But I did like really enjoy doing it, so I just kept doing it. I'm super sad that it's ending so soon. The original name for this podcast was supposed to be The Experiment. Now that I'm touching on it, because it was only supposed to last for a certain amount of time. I was gonna call the podcast The Experiment. That was it. The Experiment, number 1, number 2, number 3. And it just didn't work out that way. Thankfully, it didn't work out that way. This isn't a permanent goodbye. I'll be gone for some time, but I'll be back soon. If the powers that be allow me to come back and use this platform again, I will 1000% be back. I intend to be back. Not only am I gonna become a real estate agent as well, I'm also in school for studying to become a lawyer as well, a class action lawyer. And if you know anything about fucking school, that shit is kind of difficult. So the one thing about me is that I hate to half-ass shit. And there were points in this podcast where I released episodes and I felt like it was such a disappointment. The quality of product that I was putting out on my channel, I felt like it was so low in quality that it was so noticeable. And I personally don't want to do that. I'm aiming for success. I'm looking to take over the fucking world one day. Success is the only option for me. I hate working a job right now. I hate it. And I'm going to tell you why I hate it. Because now everything that I'm describing right now is a product of not having enough time. And I talked about this on my podcast too, where time is the most valuable thing, especially at this age. If you manage your time well, you'll be set up to do so much shit later in your life. I personally, I don't think my 1 hour, an hour of my day is worth $11. That's just me. That's my thinking. That's my fucked up brain. I can't say that for everyone. I can't say that for to people who do work those jobs and are happy and content. I'm not speaking for them. I'm speaking for me here. And I don't want to come off as arrogant or anything, but I just, knowing your worth is as a person, as a creative mind, which, by the way, I didn't think I was a creative mind before I started this podcast. And after I got into it, I realized that I have so many fucking ideas I want to put out into the world. I don't think $11 is justifiable for an hour of my time. I just don't. I feel like I'm fucking wasting my time slaving away for a fucking company that reaps the benefits of everything middle class America. They reap the benefits of everything middle class America, but that is a whole nother conversation I'm not gonna get into right now. But yeah, man, it's unfortunate that I have to end it here. But I'll be back, and when I do be back, like I just said, I have so many fucking creative ideas for this platform and for so many other things that when I come back, it's gonna be, I'm gonna have so many more ideas and content and just so much more than right now. See, like right now the lighting is bad in the room, and I don't have the means to fix it right now. And I want to put out the best product on my fucking channel just to cultivate an audience that'll listen. That's my goal for this platform moving forward. When I come back, that'll be the main goal. To entertain an audience long enough with my ideas in my fucking mind for 30 minutes at least. And this shit is tough. This isn't something anyone can just do and it be good enough to have an audience for. Not everyone can do it. It's not an easy thing. You have to put time into it. Into not only this and editing. Like, you don't know how many times during the course of doing this podcast where I had to re-record myself because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And I had fucked something up with the audio or the technical shit. All the technical shit. I fucked something up and then I had to go back and re-record it again. I'm moving now into a part of my life where I don't have the time to do that anymore. You feel me? That's it, man. And if you're taking anything away from this and the podcast, I want you to take away this. Time is the most valuable and the most important thing at this age and my age group from 18 to 24, I'm going to say. Time. Manage your time. Please. Because if you do, you'll be set up to do so much more shit. So much more shit. And that's it, man. That's it. I'm like I said before, I'm shooting for the stars, man. I know I know what failure feels like. I had to go through the times where there wasn't enough money to pay the light bill, and the lights were fucking cut off in my house. I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like for my mom to say to me that there's not enough food for my siblings and me. I know what that feels like. And granted, I'm not coming from the most impoverished home. Fuck, I wouldn't even call us poor. We were just broke at the moment. But I know what that feels like. I know what it's like to not have enough money to pay bills and cutting internet because we don't got a fucking enough money to feed the family. I can't settle for that no more. That's in this time. Let's say this time 5 years ago in the wintertime was the most struggling times for my family, and we're getting our fucking lights cut off. And I don't want to divulge too much information without them having their say. And that's another thing. When I come back, I'm gonna have guests, people from all different walks of life, come up here and share their story. And but like I said again, if you're gonna come up here and talk to me, I'm not holding back questions. I'm not one to sugarcoat shit. Blunt. I'm like that. I'm asking you the personal shit. That was off on a tangent, but I can't do failure. And within failure, you see your parents and the people around you working so hard just to make ends meet. Like I was 12 years old with a job, and some people had jobs at 12 years old. But this was in support of my family to pay bills. Like, you're like the people who have had the jobs at 12 years old. Y'all know what I'm talking about, because I don't think people get jobs at 12 years old for fun. So that's it, man. That's all I had to say on that. Unfortunately, this will be the last episode for a while. Yeah, man. Before I end the podcast, I do want to talk about Mac Miller and the new album that came out. Because last podcast, I went on the ledge and I went on the stance that I said that I will not be listening to the new Mac Miller album. I believe it's called Circles. For many different reasons I listed, for many different reasons I explained on the podcast why I wouldn't be listening to the fucking album. And surprisingly, I think this was the first take where I actually got backlash from a couple different people, a number of people actually. I would just like to say that before I go into this conversation any further, if you have a conversation with me about music, Mac Miller's name is coming up. Mac Miller is one of my top 5 favorite artists of all time. He has to be. From Blue Side Park to Swimming, he hasn't missed on a project yet. All of his projects have been phenomenal. I think his weakest one was Watching Movies with the Sound Off, and that's saying a lot because that project was pretty fucking good. Anyway, I had conversations with these people who had something to say about the fact that I wasn't going to be listening to the new Mac Miller album. And one thing that I got from the conversations right away was that a lot of people don't understand the business of music. Too many times you have if you're a student of music, and that's what I call myself. I call myself a student of music among a student of a multitude of other things. That's one thing I am a student of. I'm a student in music as a whole. I love music because you understand the power and what the power of the power that music carries when you become a student of music. Unfortunately, like neck and neck, you also have to learn the business of music. And there are too many stories of artists and artists and their product being fucked over by major companies in order for the major companies to reap all the benefits of the artist's hard work, and then not give and then the artist has to survive on tour. Like, they have to tour every month of the year in order to make a decent living. Yeah, they're promoting this lifestyle of being the richest in the world. The business in music is not nice. It's fucking nasty. I don't know the business of Mac Miller. I don't know how his business is set up. I don't know if it's set up to the point of if he releases an album after he's passed, those benefits go to him. I don't know that. I don't know. Regardless, because it's been out for a day now, and I've only heard good things about it. It's a great album. I expect nothing less from a Mac Miller project. Nothing less. If it was something less, it would be blatantly obvious to me as a consumer and as a Mac Miller fan that was just a stunt by their label to reap benefits off of his dead name. But Mac Miller don't make duds. So you telling me his album is good, doesn't really do nothing for me. Because I still don't know who is profiting off this music. I don't know if it's his loved ones or not. I don't know if Mac was an artist that had to tour his fucking ass off in order to make ends meet and promote the lifestyle that he was promoting. I don't. And I'm scared to look into that. So this is a strictly, me not listening to his album is strictly a business thing. Nothing less, nothing more. I love Mac. I fucking almost choked up when I heard the news that he was gone. I couldn't fucking believe it. It's crazy. It was fucking insane to me that he passed away. So, regardless of what people said or say, and by the way, before I get into that, I just want to note that I don't think that my stance is a popular stance. I don't think my stance is going to be well received. Shit, I don't expect anyone to support me in my stance, but I'm just asking for understanding. Just understand where I'm coming from. And that's it. That you don't have to agree. You don't have to. I just want you to understand. And that's really it, man. I don't think that there's anyone else to say about Mac and his new project. Rest in peace, Mac Miller. Prayers to him and his loved ones while they deal with his loss, and hopefully it is a project. They put out a project that does his name justice. Thank God. All right. I want to talk about the Aaron Hernandez doc. Oh wait, before I get into that, let me stay on music real quick. Eminem also dropped an album. And one thing I will say about his album that about his previous last three, I think I want to say the Marshall Mathers LP2, Revival, and Kamikaze. One thing about this album that was completely different and so what's the word I'm looking for? So fucking refreshing. So fucking refreshing to hear was Eminem alongside people who could fucking rap. The features on this album, thank God. I want to hear Eminem rap alongside Black Thought, King Crooked, Joel Ortiz, and Royce the 5'9". Those are the people I want to hear Eminem rap with. Griselda, those people. I don't want to hear him rap next to Skylar Grey in a fucking pop music trying to remake Love the Way You Lie for the 17th time. I don't need to hear Eminem rapping as fast as fucking breaking records, rapping fast as shit. I don't need to hear that. I get it. I know M can rap fast. I know that. I know M is an established MC with a legacy not many can touch. I don't need a pop single. I don't need him rapping at 100 miles per second. Rap next to Black Thought to show me your pedigree. Dog. Rap next to Royce the 5'9" to see who's better. Because there was a point, I think this album changed that, where a lot of people were saying Royce the 5'9" is a better rapper than Eminem. And I think a lot of people will still stand on that ledge. Thank you. Thank you for choosing features that do your rapping justice. It's not the best album in the world. It isn't. It has duds and it has fucking skip songs that you're quickly reminded of why Eminem fell from grace. It still has those songs in this album. But one thing you cannot deny is the features. I want to hear him next to Anderson .Paak. Rest in peace, Juice WRLD. I think that Juice WRLD song, besides from the last verse, which you can really not listen to at all, was a pretty good song. Thank you, Eminem. You finally fucking woke up. Do your legacy justice. And that's all I wanted to say on that, man. Moving on from that, I want to talk about Aaron Hernandez doc. I watched part of it. I didn't get to finish it. But one thing that is very unfortunate to gather from this doc, and you get to hear the why from Aaron Hernandez in this documentary. His family was broken. His mental was also broken. But because his support system was also broken and his family was also broken, because his family and his support and his mind were broken, he had to turn to other means in order to fulfill needs that miss within a human. I'm not sympathizing with Aaron Hernandez here because he did kill 3 people. One which was 100% obvious. The other 2, they weren't sure, but it's pretty. It's like kind of obvious that he did it with the evidence and all linking back to him, even though he was acquitted. Not only do you get to see the why Aaron Hernandez did it, this is a story of a lot of Americans. Sadly, this is a story of a lot of people. Granted, it don't end up the same way, but this is the story of a lot of people who have to hide who they are and then refuse to seek help for mental issues, and it's kind of alarming. Alarming to me as a person who has dealt with mental health for most of their life and has tried to battle demons by themselves and then ultimately had to seek other people to help with the problems. You kind of feel for these kind of stories. And again, I'm not justifying, I'm not agreeing, no sympathy here for Aaron Hernandez and what he did. And I even hate that I have to talk about this for this long because, again, I don't speak on the dead. I think that the doc was was necessary for maybe someone who is in a similar situation. And unfortunately, there are a number of people who are in this same situation. And that's all I had to say on that, man. I think that's all I wanted to talk about on this episode, was just those couple things. Oh, before I forget, football. Last week I got 2 of 4 right. I picked the Chiefs to win, and I picked the fucking who was it? The Niners to win. So I got the Chiefs and Niners right, and then Titans beat Baltimore, which was a huge upset. I was super surprised by that, even though I really wasn't. I was more surprised on how Baltimore played rather than Tennessee winning. Baltimore kind of didn't show up for any of the game, their defense or their offense. And Lamar Jackson played like shit, even though his stats would say otherwise. But he had 3 turnovers, which is more that speaks for itself in a playoff game. That's why he only scored 12 points. And then what was the other game? Packers and Seahawks. I'm not surprised the Packers won, even though I chose the Seahawks to win. The Packers were just, at the end of the day, the Packers were the more healthy team. If Seahawks were a couple guys more healthy, and their injury list is as long as the Eagles' injury list. If they had just 2 guys, if you choose any 2 names from the injury report of the Seattle Seahawks and put them on the team again, they're winning the game. They're winning that game in Lambeau Field. Because, again, I don't believe in the Packers. And I've been saying that all year. They're okay. They're definitely not going to the Super Bowl. So that's where I make my picks. I'm choosing the Niners. And I think the Niners win comfortably. I don't think it's a blowout, but I think the Niners really do win pretty easily. I'm going to say that's the score of that game is going to be 28-17. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The AFC, surprisingly, has been more interesting than the NFC this year, which I think it's usually the other way around every single year because of the reign of the Patriots. Their fucking stint so fucking long in the AFC. You kind of knew who was going to win. But this year, it's Titans and Chiefs. Chiefs' defense is not that good. They're kind of middle of the pack. Derrick Henry is going to run through their fucking defense like Swiss cheese. He's going to slice through their fucking defense like they were Swiss cheese. That's what I meant to say. As for the Titans offense, the Titans passing game, Ryan Tannehill, I think he's going to have a big blunder this game. I think he's going to have 1 turnover that is going to really cost the game. And that'll tilt the game toward Kansas City favor. And then Kansas City, they have way too many weapons, and they have a fucking generational talent quarterback to overcome their defense. They have more than enough on the offensive side of the ball to overcome their defense. I think Ryan Tannehill makes a huge mistake this game, and Kansas City wins because of that mistake. I'm going to predict the score to be 30-23. Derrick Henry does go for more than 150 yards rushing, but I don't think it'll be enough to stop what Kansas City's offers offensively. And I think that's all I wanted to cover, man. I think that's it. This will be the last episode for a while, so it kind of setting in right now. It kind of hurts, man. Let me get an outro song for you guys. Something not too really somber and shit. But thank you guys for listening. To the people who check in every week, thank you. Even if you don't watch the entire thing, thank you for coming in and checking up on the podcast. There's more of y'all that would like to realize that y'all check in every week, but thank you. You don't know what it means to me as someone who now who now understands the game of podcasting. Let me turn this down a little bit. Thank you. Thank you so much. It means more. It means more to me than you could understand. Thank you. And I think I'm heading out, man. I'll be back soon. I promise. That one thing I promise for sure. If the powers that be allow me to be back soon, I'll be back soon. It's been a fucking hell of a ride. Thank you guys. That's really all. What else can I say, man? Thank you. And I'll be back soon. I promise, man. I promise. Get more Fritos. Slip like Freudian. The first and last step to playing yourself like accordion. MF Doom is underrated, man. I'll see you guys later.